today's show, we're going to prepare my Southwestern style menu. And doesn't my table look festive? We're going to make a great recipe lineup that you and your family are sure to enjoy. So let's go and prepare it now.
Jazzy, you're going to be healthy with the Jazzy vegetarian. Jazzy, so snazzy. We're going to cook something healthy and light. Jazzy, so snazzy.
So join me in the kitchen right now.
We're gonna cook something healthy and light. That's right.
Today's show highlights easy Southwestern style recipes that are bursting with festive flavor. My velvety 5-ingredient guacamole whips up in a flash, and Jazzy Black Bean Chili makes a great party dish or even a midweek meal paired with hearty double cornbread. And even the kids are going to love Nutritious Nachos. So let's prepare it now. I came up with this appetizer when I was having a get-together with friends, and I was in charge of making the hors d'oeuvres. And it was about 20 minutes before we were supposed to get together. And of course, I hadn't made anything. So this is something that really goes together quickly. You start off with a couple of nicely ripe avocados. Now you want to make sure that they are not overly ripe, but definitely soft enough. And this is how I like to cut an avocado. Cut it around that way and then twist. And one of the sides is just gonna pop off like that. And then I like to kind of slice it across like that. Turn it wrong side out and put it in. It's kind of a messy job, but it works really, really well. And the other side, you can also do it like this, where you take it underneath the skin and just run your spoon all the way around it. That works perfectly too, and then it all comes out in one piece. I like to use a potato masher to mash it up. So easy. And look how quickly that mashes up. I'm going to add 2 cloves of finely minced garlic, and just a pinch of salt, probably about 1/8 of a teaspoon. You can do a little more if you want, but this doesn't need much because then we're going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of chili powder. That really gives it some fabulous zest. And then what really makes it creamy is my 1 heaping tablespoon of vegan mayo. It's an eggless mayo, and they've got so many varieties now, and they all taste so good. Just put that in your bowl. It's going to be so pretty. And if you do make it ahead of time, just make sure to put it in the refrigerator, covered until you're going to serve it later. So there we are, my 5-ingredient guacamole. And right now we're going to get on to my Jazzy Black Bean Chili. Jazzy Black Bean Chili. You can serve it anytime, whether you're having a kind of casual fancy dinner party to just during the midweek to your family and your friends. We're going to put our pan on medium-low heat. What I've done is I've chopped 1 large sweet onion. You can use any kind of onion that you like. And top that with about 1 tablespoon or so of olive oil. You're just going to mix that up, get that going. And what I like to do is I like to put the top on it so that it starts to sweat and adding some nice moisture to this dish. Now, my mom always used celery, and so did my grandmother. I love the taste of celery, but if you don't like celery, just skip this next step. And what I've done is I've washed thoroughly 2 stalks of organic celery. So if you have the option to buy organic celery, do it. So I've got my onions. I can hear them sizzling. Let me just toss them about a little bit. Yep. See, there we are. They're already sizzling hot. And that's going to make the beautiful base for our Jazzy Black Bean Chili. And as soon as those onions start sizzling, just like this, just add in your 2 stalks of celery. Oh, so simple. I'm going to set my cutting board aside, and I'm going to give it all a stir. Now, at this point is when I'm going to add my tamari. They say, tamari? We're not making a Japanese dish. Why are you adding tamari? Well, I'm adding reduced sodium tamari, which adds a great depth of flavor. And since we're cooking all vegetarian, we like to have nice layers of flavor. So at this point, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of my reduced sodium tamari. Now it's time to add our spices. It's starting to smell so great already. What we're going to use is 1 teaspoon of chili powder. And then we're going to add 1 teaspoon of dried cilantro. Just toss that right in there. We're going to let that all simmer together. Now, to tell you the truth, when I'm making this during the week for my husband and I don't normally put the vegetarian meat in. But for special occasions, when you really want it to taste like that robust chili, this is a really great choice. I'm going to use about 7 to 10 ounces of vegan meat. And if you see these in your market, they're really great. They're perfect for chilies, perfect for lasagna, perfect for anything where you want kind of a base of a meaty taste. So I'm going back over to my pan now, and I'm going to place the patty log in. And what I'm going to use to break it up is you can just get a fork kind of in there, break it up. Now, this doesn't have a lot of oil to it as meat would. So at this point, if it starts getting dry, you can add just a tiny, tiny touch of water. Beautiful. Ooh, boy, that smells fantastic. Now I'm going to put the top on and let it simmer. Now we're going to add 2 cloves of finely chopped garlic. Add that right in there. Let that cook for a minute or so. And the next thing we are going to add is 1 15-ounce can of organic black beans. Just toss that right in. 1 15-ounce can of organic corn. Now, you can use fresh corn if you want. You might use 2 or 3 ears of corn. Boy, I'll tell you, on a chilly, chilly night, there is nothing better than chili to warm you up and make you feel really fantastic. Now we're going to add our tomatoes, and I'm going to use about 15 ounces of crushed tomatoes. About half of this can. Now, if you don't have tomatoes sitting around, I've actually used marinara sauce. I've used fresh tomatoes, which are fabulous. Just cut up 3, 4, 5 fresh tomatoes and pop them in there. I've used tomato paste. You get the idea. Just as long as it's tomatoey, it's going to be fabulous in here. Now, at this point, a little bit of sea salt. This was my sister's great idea. I like to add summer squash. This is zucchini, and I've cut them into cubes. You want to cut them into cubes so they kind of hold their shape and they add texture to this chili. I have 2 small organic zucchini. And as a matter of fact, any veggies you want to put in this chili will work just fantastic. Doesn't that look so beautiful? The beautiful yellow corn, the red tomatoes, that green of that zucchini. Yummy, yum. We're going to cover it now, and we are going to simmer it on medium-low for about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, if you're doing this for a party, you can make it the day before. Put it tightly covered in your refrigerator, and then you can just heat it up before your party. So that's a good tip. And now we're getting right on to my fantastic double cornbread. So let's put that together now. Now, we're not using eggs in this, but this is easily remedied by using a ripe banana. Now, it's not going to make it taste like banana bread, but it's just going to give a nice base, give a little extra sweetness, and the banana is what's going to bind the cornbread together so we don't have to use egg. You know, I use bananas a lot when I'm baking instead of eggs. Of course, only when I'm baking sweet things. I use that for muffins. I use that for my cakes. Oh, so many things. Now, you see how it's kind of become all nice and creamy. We're going to add it to our double cornbread. I'm going to start with 1 1/4 cups of organic cornmeal. Pour that right in. And then I'm using 1 cup of whole wheat flour. Pour that in. And then I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Then we're going to add a little bit of sea salt. And then our last dry ingredient, 1/3 cup of organic brown sugar. And since this is a very rustic bread, a few lumps here and there aren't going to make any difference. So we're just going to use a whisk. We don't have to sift it together. Now, the corn part of our double cornbread. Now, I had one corn cob that I had cooked, and this is how we take it off the cob. It's so easy. Just get a large cutting board, place it. I like to use the little stem of the corn to hold the corn in place so it's nice and firm, and then just take a nice sharp knife and cut right down it like that. Now, if you make this in the wintertime, just use canned corn if you can't get fresh corn. That is all there is to it. And then I've got my banana here, and I'm just going to break the pieces of corn apart with your hands. It's a very, very rustic cornbread that I'm going to serve with my fabulous Jazzy Black Bean Chili for everybody to enjoy. There we go. Let me set my cutting board aside. I have my oven preheated at 400, and we're going to bake this from 30 to 35, maybe 40 minutes until you can put a fork in it and, you know, it's kind of dry, but not too dry. You can kind of tap the top and you'll see it's nice and brown on top, brown on the sides, and then it's ready. So what I have done in advance is I have an 8x8 baking pan. So I have that pre-greased and ready. Now we are going to add a 1/4 cup of olive oil, because you do need a little bit of fat after all. And then 1 cup of soy milk or almond milk, add that in. Mix that all together. It's looking beautiful. Now we have one more wet ingredient, plus our corn. Of course, is our banana. We want to get every bit of that banana that's replacing our egg into this cornbread. My mouth is watering because I'm thinking about eating this cornbread. Just mix it until all of the flour is incorporated. That's it. Don't overmix. Wow. That is beautiful. What a beautiful golden color. I think that's the best way to describe it. The golden color of the wheat, the beautiful yellow of the corn, and the pretty color of the cornmeal makes this a beautiful looking cornbread. That's the whole thing. I'm going to put it in the oven, and while it's cooking, we're going to make my fabulous kid-friendly, nutritious nachos up next. Right now, we're going to make my nutritious nachos. It's a great way to get the kids to eat their veggies. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with 1/2 of a green pepper. Now, I came up with this recipe. My husband and I were out working in the garden one day. We were so hungry, I didn't have much of anything for lunch, but I did have some peppers, and I had some tortilla chips, and I have the rest of the ingredients, which you're going to see for these quick and easy nachos. So I've chopped up that 1/2 of a green pepper, and then I had pre-chopped 1/2 of an orange pepper. You don't have to put the orange pepper in, but if you have it around, it's a great pop of color. I'm actually going to make 1/2 of the nutritious nachos without olives, but my husband and I and my friend Debbie just love olives. So I take 10 queen-size olives, and I'm going to chop them and put them in a separate bowl since I'm not going to put them on all of my nachos. And if you don't like green olives, then I recommend that you use black olives. I smell that cornbread. It's time to get it out. Let's take a look at it. It smells so good. Let's check it out. Ooh, that's gorgeous. That's just how you want it. Isn't that beautiful? Just see, it's kind of very firm to the touch and nice and crispy around the edges, crispy on top. We're going to let this go to room temperature because this is going to be a beautiful dish served with our Jazzy Black Bean Chili. Meanwhile, I'm going to turn my oven down to 375 because we're going to bake these nutritious nachos at 375, and they cook up so quick, so easy. Okay, I've got my olives cut. Now, the next thing that I had in my fridge that day were some beautiful grape tomatoes. Just slice them in half. I'm going to use 1 pint of these baby grape tomatoes. Now, the great thing about this, if you have trouble getting anybody that you're cooking for to eat vegetables, as you can see, this packs in a pretty good punch of vegetable servings. And it's all going to be disguised with the tortilla chips underneath and the vegan cheese. It's becoming a lot easier to find non-dairy cheese at your supermarket. Now, the vegan cheese just makes this recipe really pop today. If you are looking for a vegan cheese, make certain that it says vegan or has a capital V symbol on the label. Free of dairy and animal products, vegan cheese can be rice, pea protein, soy, or even arrowroot based, and it's delicious used in sandwiches, lasagna, or even casseroles. Now, you're going to find it in the refrigerated dairy or health food section in most supermarkets. Add a half teaspoon of sea salt. I'm using a half teaspoon dry cilantro. I'm just tossing this all together. I'm going to take a little bit of it because some of my crew does not like olives. Just taking about a cup of that, putting it aside, and that's going to go on their nachos. And then for myself and everybody that does like olives here today, I'm going to put the 10 queen olives chopped into the rest of it. Look how gorgeous that is. Wowie zowie. Okay. First, I'm going to do the nachos with no olives. I'm using whole grain organic tortilla chips. You can get the blue corn organic tortilla chips. Those are also real pretty to use in this recipe. And you're just going to distribute your vegetables evenly, and I have it placed on a cookie sheet, and on top of that I have some unbleached baking parchment paper. Now I've got my vegan cheese. It comes pre-shredded, which makes it really easy to make this dish, and I'm going to put, I guess, about 4 ounces, and about 4 ounces or so, just eyeball it, of the white kind of mozzarella. I like the 2 kinds of cheese on it. Look, isn't that pretty already? All right, now let's just prep up the other one. Just sprinkle this beautiful confetti-colored vegetable mixture over top of your single layer of tortilla chips. And here we've got our vegan cheese. That is all there is to it. So what I'm going to do now is pop these trays in the oven. And I've got the oven at 375. It's going to take about 10 minutes or so till that vegan cheese is nicely melted and the little tortillas that are peeking out of the side are all nicely browned and crispy. Look at that beautiful Jazzy Black Bean Chili. Wish you were here to smell the smells in my kitchen today. Get a little bit of that squash and a little bit of the everything in there. Just a little bit of heat from the chili powder and a little bit of that salty sweetness from the tamari. Absolutely tantalizing. And of course, my first course, my 5-ingredient guacamole. I've dressed it out with a little bit of the chili powder on top. Now I've got to get to these nutritious nachos. Look how pretty that is. And just a tad of that salsa on top. Oh boy, I don't think I'm going to get this all in my mouth. Wow. The olives give it a great depth of flavor. That salsa right on top gives it a little bit of zesty pizzazz. And then the vegetables, it's so good. I highly recommend that. Now let's give a try to our beautiful cornbread. And I've got a little serving utensil. And let me just taste that now. Perfect. Nice, crumbly. Get a taste of a little bit of that brown sugar and that fresh corn. Oh, and it's just fabulous. I want to thank you all for joining me today. And the next time that you're looking for a healthy Southwestern style recipe, I hope that you'll take some tips from today's show. So until next time, be happy, be healthy, and be well.
Visit our website at jazzyvegetarian.com to connect with Laura, see videos, find your favorite recipes, and more. Follow Laura on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Jazzy Vegetarian, lively vegan cuisine that's easy and delicious, includes all the recipes from this season and is available for $26.95. This 10th anniversary edition companion cookbook features full-color photos, menu plans, and over 120 recipes. For information or to order, visit jazzyvegetarian.com.
Next time on Jazzy Vegetarian, I'll prepare an easy-to-make, delicious picnic meal featuring my cool cucumber soup paired with sunflower avocado rolls, which make the perfect portable sandwich. And no picnic would be complete without country-style red potato salad. Then peanut butter fudge makes a rich but cool summertime dessert. Join me!